Moturi Sorobi. He's a radio presenter in Egesa Radio. So for me, I have listened to him on radio in vernacular in Kisii. And everything he says in Kisii is usually very funny. But I don't know if when it is translated to English and Kiswahili, if it is as funny as so. Karibu sana, Sorobi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Ven and the Directorate for the opportunity to come and share with you a few things. I won't just go straight to what I'd prepared once I was notified that I will be coming here. I want just to look at something, and then I might want to have my notebook here so that I can be able to check on one or two things, even as we have our today's topic. So today I want us to look at how do we maintain what we call motivated work-life balance. How do you balance life, work, and be motivated? People across the world, they are demotivated. People are complaining. And in fact, if you call for a meeting and you allow people to give the areas of concern, they will talk. But the moment you ask them, can you give the solutions? There's less of solutions, but there is a lot of complaining. But at the same time, even as we talk about this, it's also good to live a life of gratitude. Gratitude, what we mean here is, you know, sometimes you might be coming into workplace and you're feeling like, silipwangu pesa mzuri, I'm not well treated. But again, we forget that there are people who are looking for a job. There's somebody who is saying, mimi nipe hiyo. Sometimes we forget. I remember there was one time I was so much demotivated at my workplace that I had to talk to the late Zao Kalulu, who used to be a radio presenter, but he passed on. There's one day I went and I was feeling like, I've worked here and I'm not really seeing whether there is some salary increment, and I'm feeling bad. And I remember those days I used to wake up every day at 3 a.m. so that by 5 I'm in the workstation to open the station. And then he challenged me, told me, there is nobody who will be able to pay you what you are equal to. There is nobody who will be able to pay you. You are as good as your last assignment. There is nobody who will be able to pay you what you are equal to. But he challenged me something. He said, once you have left here, what else do you think you can be able to do? What else do you think you can be able to do? That is the very day I remember I had to go back to class. I had to go back to class. And I remember I did my classes when it was very tough. So what are we trying to look at? We are trying to look at sometimes that we are demotivated and we are feeling like things are not working out. We are feeling like I need to be added more money, or maybe something else needs to be done. I need to be treated in a different way. There's more much that is need to be done, until we forget that there are people who are looking for that opportunity. There's somebody who is saying, can I get that opportunity? Another thing also I want us to look at here is, let us learn also to appreciate life despite the challenges. Just appreciate life despite the challenges. Funny enough, you might feel like this place is not so good. You go to a different one. You go to another person also. You know, we always think that the other side, the grass is greener. This other side is not. But the moment you go there, so what are we trying to look at this morning? That it's always good also to appreciate life despite the challenges. That is why sometimes, even when you talk about marriage, mtu anaona huyu amenisumbua, acha nilete mwingine, bado shida zinakuwa. Acha nilete mwingine, bado shida zinakuwa. So what we need to look at here is, let us just learn to appreciate life despite the challenges. And let us also, even as we do the intro, let us also train ourselves to restrain ourselves from grumbling. All of us, including hata ukifanya wapi, we like grumbling. Funny enough, we like grumbling even in the workplace. We like grumbling even in your family. I can just give you a test. Go and one day and ask your family. You have a family. And then you allow people to write, give them papers. What do you think? Probably you're a family of 5. We normally try doing that in my family, but sometimes it's very, it makes the dining table become a bit grumpy. Because you ask, can you write? I changed because initially I used to ask, can you write one thing that you think I need to improve on? So, unaandika, Daddy, you need to improve on this. Mommy, you need to improve on this. and then my first daughter. So you write for everyone. If you have 5 of us, you write and then we share. But we discovered we are focusing on more on things that we need to improve. We changed, we said, can you write one thing that you thank God for? Or one thing you thank so and so for? So that we don't focus more on the negatives, what we need to improve, but you can just sit and say, can you write 1 or 2 things that you appreciate so and so for? Funny enough, those are some of the things we don't take, we take for granted. We never mention them. You might be working in a place like this and somebody is doing a good job or something very nice, but we never. Or maybe in your family, somebody is doing something nice. I have discovered that in life, everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants to be appreciated. And when somebody mentions, when somebody can sit down and say, I liked the way you did this and this and this and this, and then it's very more detailed, it makes someone feel nice, you feel motivated, you feel appreciated, you feel like going to do something else more because you appreciate it. Have you ever known that the Kenyan system, not only the Kenyan system, our communities, we only talk so good when someone has died? Hata zipije zingine tunaongea mwenye amekufa akiamuka atashangaa. Because we never mention those things. Have you ever seen the way people do the tributes? In my line of duty, I do many things. I do emceeing of events and such, including some of the funerals. Like where I come from, sometimes we have these big funerals whereby there is somebody who can be able to control because people want to give speeches. Sometimes I look at the tributes written. The daughter, the son has written, the wife has written, and then they write very nice things. How I met the love of my life, but I keep on wondering, haya maneno aliongea kweli huyu mtu akiwa hai? Huyu mtu alikuwa anajua all those things. I'm very sure even in this workplace environment, as ingine tunaweza mtu, even in case God forbid somebody has passed on, tunaandika. But did we ever have a time whereby we can be able to say, Mr. and so and so, just you have a meeting and I want just to appreciate so and so. Thank you so much because you always do this and this and this. Even if it's on email, even if it's on text. We rarely don't do that. But we always see, wewe hukufanya hii, mikutano yako haikuangi mipangiki, on this and that. We only keep on throwing, but we rarely remember to look at some of the positive things. And we mention them. I went to another place, they said, ukianza kuambia bibi maneno mazuri, atakuwa na kichwa. But you find that the reason is why sometimes even many of us, we find ourselves into unfaithfulness because you go to a place whereby somebody appreciates. Umetoka kwako hakuna mtu ameona nywele yako. Umetoka kwako hakuna mtu ameona. Umeshinda tu over the weekend ukitengenezwa kucha, hakuna mtu. But you come to the office, somebody says, "Oh, I love you." Don't you think your heart will melt? You are in a place whereby, maybe probably as a man, you do a lot. You wake up early, you do all this. But all through, statements zinakuanga zinizo do, hakuna kitu unafanya. And then you find somebody who is appreciating your efforts. Definitely there is a way to be able to have a different impact. Now, I want us to look at something that how do we find ourselves motivated? And I want just to give a few points. How can I find motivation? Number one, let us learn to encourage ourselves. Number one, kindly, it's good for people to mention things or maybe to say things about us, but it's more important when you learn to motivate yourself. Wewe mwenyewe. It's good for people to say, but also it's good you learn. Those of you who read the Bible, you remember David when he had an issue in the book of Samuel, and he had lost a lot of property, and then people were attacking him, and they wanted they were attacking him, and they had already taken the servants and everything. He cried until he had no strength. But if you read the Bible, towards the end, he says, he cried until he had no strength, until he had to encourage himself. What am I trying to say? That even as much as we work and we do all these things we are doing, whether we are working here or in our families, learn to appreciate yourself. Learn to motivate yourself. You yourself, learn to appreciate yourself. Even the Bible says that as the man thinketh, so he is. So wewe ukiamuka tu unajiangalia kwa kioo unaona, wewe mwenyewe you work, and then the way even you eat. I've discovered sometimes when people are giving us free food, hiyo tunakimbia. But kuna watu wengine, you can never treat yourself. Hata kama ni ya 200, hata kama ni ya, you only want to go and eat ile chakula ya 50, ama ya 30, or something, or ya 100 or whatever. But we never value that I can also do something for myself. So we are looking at how can I find motivation. Number 1, learn to encourage and to motivate yourself. Niwe mwenyewe, the other day I was challenging some of my friends, nikamwambia, sasa zingine tu ya uchipigie tu sherehe. Once in a while, just go find something nice for yourself. I saw somebody else who was challenging people, was saying, some people, they work like elephants, but they eat like cockroaches. Unafanya kazi, but you. So what are we trying to say? Even as much as, yes, people might be able to say these nice things to us, but can we learn ourselves? You yourself, learn just to appreciate. Hata ukiamuka, thank God for that workplace. Thank God for the place where you need to work. Thank God for your family. Thank God for the children that you have. Again, as I said, if we keep on looking at who you are fanyangi, can we also turn the table? Look at some of the things that are positive. The other day I was challenging people that we are living in an environment whereby when you watch news, it's like it's bad news all through. Story ya kwanza, mtu amekufa. Ya pili, kuna accident. Ya tatu, there is what? Ya ine, mvua imenyesha, nyumba imeanguka. Ya tano, what happens by the time you're going to sleep? Hata ukienda kulala, already, the amount of news, the amount of content that you've consumed. The other day I was dreaming, and I think it's because of the things that I saw during the day. On Sunday, I had an afternoon nap. Nikalala kuamuka, nikashtuka. And nikashtuka, some people came to my house and wakachukua dining tables. And nimeamuka, nimesweat. And then I discovered it's because I had seen another incident whereby mtu alikuwa amenyanganywa vitu and such. What are we trying to look at? We're trying to say that even as we want also to be motivated, can we also learn to pick the positive things around us? What is so positive about the work environment? What is so positive about your family? What is so positive about where you come from? Can we pick 1 or 2 things? Because the negatives, you don't even need to pick them. You'll be able to see them. They are all over. But what can you be able to pick which is positive? This one is good. This one is good. The negatives, definitely you'll be able to see them. Can we learn also to pick the positive things? And they can be very simple things. As I said, sometimes you always think like, oh, huku ni kubaya. By the way, I always challenge people that if the place, instead of you staying in a place where you're complaining all through, can you find a better place you go? Yeah? Do you have a better place you can go? Where enda? But if there is no other better place you can be able to go, then can you find a way of working? Because that is where you are. If you keep on complaining about your family, okay, is there a better family you can be able to find? Basi kama hakuna, learn to appreciate these ones. By the way, nyinyi mnakuanga na family gatherings ama mashamba ilifanya mkaa? Do you meet in your family setups? Do you meet like brothers and then they come with their families, with their children? Hizo vitu zinakuanga? Hiyo mashamba I don't want you to answer me. But you see, those are some of the challenges that we keep on grumbling, calling the family members we have, want just to meet, and we want just, because if we don't do those things, matanga itatuleta pamoja tupende tusipende. Matanga itatuleta tutakuwa hapo. Yeah. You know, I've been pushing my family members, telling them that we want everybody to come. Hata kama uko wapi, December can we create? We want just to have. It's not easy. It's not easy. Sasa kile wewe wenye unaitisha watu wanafikiri uko na pesa mingi sana. Wengine wanaona unatusumbua. But you'll discover that when people meet, there are few things which happen. Wakati watu wanakutana. Have you ever seen that some of us probably, even the way we one of the key things we need to look at also even as we go about, can we find a way that you can even meet with your family and you eat? When we're having the issues of these drugs, I was interviewing another expert, and this week also we'll be doing a talk about the telltale signs of drugs. Unajua mkikaa kwa familia yenu, and then you are able to meet, even in the workplace, you are able to say so and so nowadays I'm different. And I've discovered when you want to drift away, you start running away from people. Even a child who wants to become, who's developing some behaviors, they always withdraw. They're in their room, they are never together. They behave like in the villages whereby mzendi anabaki tu kwa sitting room na radio, mama kwa kitchen na wasichana, the boys are in the other side. What happens when people are living like that? You develop some things, you don't come to discover them when it's too late. So let me just go to number 3. And there is what we call, it's very important for us when we want to be motivated. Can we find also how do we have what we call work-life balance? What do we mean with this? How do I balance masaa ya kazi na masaa ya familia na masaa yangu, and with friends and with family and with other activities? By the way, one of the key things which can also help us to find motivation life. Unajua kuna wakati mwingine maisha yako ni ofisi, ukitoka either unaenda nyumbani. Do we have some people around here who have some other office? Someone in this room who is a footballer? Anybody who is an instrumentalist? Someone in this room who is into netball? Anybody who does table tennis? Nani anauza njai? Number 4, let me also mention, when we talk about how do you motivate yourself, can you moderate life expectations? Learn to moderate life expectations. The other day I was interviewing another doctor and she was saying, sometimes you write a list of the kind of person you want. I don't think whether there's anybody who's not married here. I think the age, kuna wale, but maybe the interns who are coming in. Sometimes people write, and I liked the way Dr. Ross Misat was just encouraged. Can you write all those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Those are the qualities you are looking for in a lady or in a man. Sasa ukimaliza kuandika, anza na wewe. Don't expect things from other people which you cannot. Kama unataka mtu mwenye ako control, haya anza wewe mwenyewe na wewe kujicontrol. I want somebody who is caring. Can you start being caring yourself? So what are we trying to look at? One of the best ways of remaining motivated is to moderate life expectations. I'm very sure kuna wengine wenu mko hapa, pesa itoshi. But you have people in the village, uko na some nieces and some nephews, who are complaining, mbona ucha watumia 100 wa kulikuitisha githeri. Nani amwai tumiwe nini? Because wanasema, my uncle works at prison headquarters. Sasa yeye mbona kuombe 100 na usikwe na 100? I remember when I finished college, there's a CEO who used to come to college and I was looking for a house. And nilikuwa najua CEO hawezi kosa 10,000. Nimekuja kumsamea the other day when we met, when I discovered people are calling me, my texts zinakujanga tu zile za kuitisho. Na kwa hivi kidogo unaona SMS zako zinakuja, hakuna hata za kukusalimia. And I've never known why people keep on calling. Na ukituma hata mtu akwambia I received. Nani amewahi pitia hiyo? Unaandikiwa SMS, mtu anakupigia. Mpaka sometimes unafuliza. There's one time I was on the road. Yaani nilipigwa mpaka I had to stop nikafuliza. And then hakupiga simu mpaka nikasikia huyu mtu anajua nimefuliza, mpaka I had to go and nikamkopia hiyo nimwambie nimefuliza nikakutumia. And for your information, kwanza alikuwa ananiambia nimtumie atanirudishia, acha wewe nirudishia mpaka leo. Number 1, alishinda akinipigia simu, akinitext. Number 2, I didn't have the money. I had to go and fuliza ndio nimtumie. Because sometimes mtu anashindwa, how can you not be able to have 2,000? Hani unawezaje kosa 1,000? Do you have some nieces, some nephews who keep on sending in nitumie ya githeri? Nitumie ya nini? Sure. What are we trying to say? We are trying to say that also can we lower? You know, some of the things that I was telling people on the radio, can we also lower some of the expectations? Kuna watu wengine wanafikiria serikali ndio shida zao zote. Some people, they have a lot of beef with the MCA. Some people, they have with the member of parliament, with the president or whatever. Sometimes kuna vitu zingine unafaa kuangalia kando, you balance. Yes, they might not be, kuna vitu hazijafanyika, lakini you can't. In the same way we have expectations. Kuna mtoto wako akuone kama kuna kitu unaweza fanya. True or false? Sometimes they feel like my dad is not good. Afanyi. So what are we trying to, for us to be motivated, can we also learn to moderate our expectations, including from your colleagues? Unakumbuka ile ka WhatsApp wakati kulikuwa na shida, unakumbuka alituma 500. Sasa najaribu kuangalia alinitumia ngapi. Can we lower expectations? Sometimes watu wanaweza kusaidia, wakati mwingine wasikusaidie, but kindly let us not just walk around you feeling like this is what so and so could have done to me, this is what the government could have done to me, this is what my wife could have done for me, this is what. Can we also try to moderate? Moderate, we are meaning here is, yes, they might do and they might not be able to do because they are human beings. There's what we call in business, we call what we call the pestel. There's what we call the political. When people do businesses, there are few things which are beyond you. Ulikuwa umeweka biashara na ulikuwa umepanga mpango yote, and then there are floods. We were doing things and then all of a sudden we're having COVID. There are some things. So in life, let us just learn. Yes, plans belong to me, but also can we learn also to moderate our expectations? Let's just do something about work balance. I remember we said we are talking about how do you establish or how do you motivate how do you stay motivated in a work balance environment? Now, let's just look at what we call the work balance. Work balance here, what I want us to look at here is there are many things that we need to look at in life. There are many things that we need to look about in life, even as we do many things. You know, sometimes we find our lives are imbalanced. Probably we focus on this other side, haiko. This other side, there is one person I went to MC the funeral. Alikuwa mtu mkubwa. But I found something very interesting. Sometimes I said I MC different events, weddings, funerals, fundraisings, book launches and other things. Watu walipeana speeches mzuri. And alikuwa ni mtu mkubwa. But I discovered this person had no touch with the society around that place. The kids cried. The wife. People gave speeches. Lakini hapa nje, and I've come to discover, saa zingine nikienda, that's some of those things. Siongeleshangi watu wenye wako kwa kipanda. Watu wenye wako na story mzuri ya mwenye amekufa ni wale wako kwa barabara. Na wale watu wanakaa mbali mbali. Those are the people who have the story. Those are the people. Sasa wakati nimeenda kwa worship, mwingine akaniambia, huyu jamaa, he had a very big job. Alikuwa na kazi mzuri na kubwa sana. And he could people to have employed so many people. The reason as to why people are just watching the funeral. Have you ever gone to a big funeral? Kwanza imetengenezwa ya doom. We are not talking about these small tents. Doom. Ile kubwa. Unaangalia watu kama almost 2,000. And then I discovered this guy was doing a good job, yes. But alikuwa mtu wa kusaidia tu mtu wa familia yake. Only. Kwanza the immediate. These other people. So we want to look at work balance. Number one, let's start with... when we talk about work-life balance, number one, let's just talk about managing personal finances. By the way, have you ever known that mtu akifanya kitu yote ya kuambia watu vile watapata pesa, ataibia watu vibaya sana? I've always found people who are carrying, anaenda nauza, anatafuta 200, aenda kutafuta kitu kingine, ama atafutiwe kazi kwingine. I do a program, we call it Diaspora Connect, whereby I talk to, every Sunday evening, I talk to people who are outside the country. Tell me how is life in Norway, how is life in Qatar, how is life what? But I discovered that people are very quick. Anakuambia, nikupatia pesa ngapi? Ndio niende huko. How much? Because I was wondering, when you want to give someone 300,000, don't you think this money you can be able to start something? Unapepa 300 unataka kupeana. Let's just talk about, when you talk about work-life balance, there is the part of what we call personal finance, or what we call financial management. And this is what has been agreed with people who have done a lot of trainings. They have said this: if you can't manage 500, even 5,000 you can't manage. Tunaelewana? If you can't manage 500, even 5,000 you can't manage. So what are we trying to look at? Number one, let us learn to appreciate the little that we are getting. Even the Bible says, if you are little in small things, I will make you greater in bigger things. Can we learn to appreciate the little that we are getting? If there is a way that we can we learn to appreciate the little? I want you just to go and do some bit of research. You know, the reason as to why sometimes we are complaining that our money is not enough, it's because we want to live a given lifestyle. Have you ever gone to the villages and you find, those of you who come from the village, just remember your village. Ni nani anaheshimika huku ndani? Wengi ni walimu. And you'll be shocked they are not paid a lot of money. Including those of primary, they are not paid a lot of money. But what happens with them? If you remember the way when we were brought up, sometimes kuna vile walimu, sana in they appreciate whatever they get. And then maisha yale wanakaa, naweka one or two things there. And they are not earning a lot. My father was not, he was a primary teacher. I keep on wondering because there's one time we went Form 1. We were 4 of us. Wawili walikuwa mbele nikatoka nyuma nikawapata. And then Form 1 anafanya shopping ya watu 4. Na wote walikuwa wamepita. Na my mom was not working. And then you are looking at how did you manage this? Of course, there were challenges. There was a lot of complaining and such. But one of the things that I've come to train myself is learn to manage the little that you have. How can we people to do that? Let me just give a few points when you talk about financial management. Number 1, live your life. Kama maisha yako, nguo yako utanunua toy market, please be very confident, nunua nguo yako toy market. If your budget allows you to go to Gikomba, you know the biggest challenge we're having, it's because you want to live somebody's life. Wewe ukiangalia mshahara yako, you can only afford a house somewhere in Pipeline. You can't be in Ngong Road. Live your life. Sio vibaya kutembelea watu kwa nyumba zao, but always be very careful. Mental health issues itaanza kukutwanga. Have you ever gone to somebody's house and you're wondering, are we working in the same environment? Live your... Mahali unaweza chikuna, that is where. If you are salon, wewe ni mtu wa kwenda saluni ya 500, haya, enda hapo kwa 500. Ama ni 2000, learn. But again, even as we talk about this, another key thing that we are being trained when you talk about financial management, learn to budget. Learn to budget. Money speaks. By the way, money talks. The only voice we hear, it's finished. Pesa huongea. Lakini the only thing we hear, imeisha. Have you ever seen that sometimes when we have money, there's a way you become uncontrollable? We are different. Kuna watu wengine personality akiwa na pesa, anasumbua. Unasunguka mpaka inaisha, unatulia. Na kuna watu wengine wakiwa na pesa, they are very slippery. But what we want to look at here is, when we talk about finances, number 1, let us just appreciate. If we can't manage the 10,000, if you can't be able to manage the little money that you have, even if you get more, it will be very hard. At the same time, we are looking at, can we learn to budget? One of the key things, I have a talk show I do every Monday with financial analysts. They always say this: direct where your money should be able to go. Nasema, I'm going to do shopping. And I'm never ashamed of this. I'm the one who does shopping in my family. Mimi ndio naendanga. And I'm never ashamed kuenda na karatasi yangu. Either I have a stick note, na tick. Unga nachukua hii, tissue nafaa kuchukua hii, I need to do this. I stick with the budget. Ikiishia hapo, that is it. So we have to do what we have to budget for our money. And if in any case you discover that you find yourself, unajua, kama saa zingine unatoka hapo unaenda town, impulse buying. Unapita unaona top, unachukua. Haikuwa kwa budget. Unaona kasweta kazuri, unachukua. Mfua ndio hiyo kidogo tu umechukua umbrella nyingine. Na huko na umbrella kama 3 ama 4 5. We have some victims around. Because you see, the reason as to why we always feel like money is not enough in kidogo, it's because we never budget and we never stick to our budget. Because money speaks, the only language tunasikia imeisha. And we must learn, even when we talk about financial management, we have to learn to direct our money. Pesa ukiacha itaenda. Unakaa hivi kidogo unasikia kula matumbo. Unasikia hivi kidogo unasikia kula nyama choma. Unakaa hivi kidogo. So you have to learn to direct your money. This is what I'm going to, and you know, sometimes they say it's better you budget for the money before it comes. Hii mwezi we need to have this for school fees. There is this for tokens. There is this for this. There is this for investment. And always they have said, this is what the financial experts have said, always save before you start. I've been complaining this. I've been having an expert every Monday. We discuss about money. I've been complaining. Sasa mimi nikiangalia hii ingine iko wapi? Hakuna pesa imebaki. Always train yourself. If in any case you want to throw some 2,000 somewhere, either for education policy, or maybe you want to throw 2,000 somewhere, so that you can save it for investment. Don't save it, but you are saving it for investment. Train yourself. Mshahara ikikuja, wache itupwe hapo kwanza. Because the moment money comes, it's and you're not able to control it. So wacha hiyo pesa yako, enda tu weka, unasema, even if it's 500. Because again, we have to change our mindset. Ati hakuna pesa. Pesa ni kidogo. That is why in personal financial management, they always say, you shouldn't be able to stay in a house which is more than a quarter of your salary. So if you're earning 10,000, half is 5, a quarter is 2,500. But you can be able to live in a house which is more than that if you have other sources of income. If you have other sources of income. But if you do not have that, is the only one, find a way of going to a place whereby you'll be comfortable. So again, when you talk about finances, personal, what we call personal finance, we have also to learn about money. Now let me challenge. Now that we normally have issues in life, unaweza kuwa kuna issue ya ugonjwa fulani or a given condition, what do? You read about it. True or false? Kuna kitu fulani you do not know, you always have some migraines, what do? Unaenda una Google. You go to an expert. Do you know that some of us, majority of us, we grew up mali unaambiwa pesa hakuna. Hata mzazi akikupatia pesa anatani hivi. My dad used to do like that. Ukimwomba pesa anatani hivi. Kwanza he used to say hakuna pesa. All through kumwambia pesa, kumwambia hakuna. So we also grow up with that. By the way, nobody should ever lie to you that the experiences of what you've been seeing, the way you've been seeing your father and your mom, the way they live, the way they do their things, the way they manage their finances, whether we like it or not, in a way, ina transfer inakuja kwetu. Nile tu uioni, lakini kwa umbali, they have influenced you, even the way you do your things. But what we are trying to look at here is, let us learn to budget, we've talked about that, but also let us also learn to manage our expenses, we've talked about that one. At the same time also, let us also learn to teach ourselves. There are many people who have written books. Unajua ukigundua uko na ugonjwa fulani ama you have a challenge somewhere, then you have to find some medicine. So I want to challenge all of us here. Ni kitabu gani uko nayo ya kusoma about personal finance management? How many books do you have? Because if it's an area you keep on finding it's a challenge, you need to go and buy. One of the key things, I remember when I was relocating in my house, this is how I had to catch a move. These people come and move people. Waliniambia, we are so sorry. Because they carried so many books. Wakafikiria nilikuwa na bookshop, ilikuwa imefail, sasa nilikuwa na misha books. And then they were saying, oh, we are so sorry for what? I told them, no, because why? I buy books and I never give out books. And they are very clean. Ukikuja ukikupatia kitabu nilinunua 2002, it's very clean. I have always even told my wife and children, you read in the study room, you leave it there. Because I discovered when you give them out, what we need, they never value. So what are we trying to challenge ourselves? All of us here is, when you find that pesa ni kidogo, then can you find ways? By the way, do you know that we have a lot of trainings people do about trainings about financial management? I remember there's one time I attended St. Autonomy. They do a lot of trainings. Find places where we can be able to be trained. Find someone who knows how to manage the finances. Unaweza pata kuna mtu fulani na manage. There are few things you'll discover that wewe ukiwa na pesa unakuanga mtu wa impulse. And not only that one, even in your family, you will discover kuna mwenye akoni spender na kuna mwenye. I want you to look at your friend in your family. Wachana in your workplace, in your family. Nani anakuanga mzuri kwa kuweka pesa? Ni wewe ama it's your spouse? So if you discover your wife, yeye ndiye anajua kuweka pesa, kindly for safety, let her manage the finances. If you think it's the man, kindly allow him to manage the finances. But at the same time also, you might find some people around who can be able to help you to manage your finances as well. And then let me just finish with another point when you talk about financial management. I want also to challenge ourselves that I have done a book called Maximizing Your Skills and Talents. Now, what else do you think you can be able to do? What else do you think you can be able to do that can be able to give you an extra income? Haitaharibu kazi yenye unafanya. What else can you be able to do? Many things. Let's just mention a few of them. Some of you probably you can be able to work with your hands. Kuna watu wengine wanajua kutengeneza sweater tu, hizo za kunini, unatengeneza whatever. What else can you be able to do? Maybe probably it's a skill. There is a given skill that you have that you can be able to use to do something and you can be able to earn a living. Or maybe you can be able to get, even if it's 2,000. Kuna wengine, maybe probably God has blessed you You have like a small place. You know, yesterday I went to see another young man. Let me call him a young man because he worked with KDF for only 5 years and he stopped. Ameweka kuku wengi somewhere in Kamakis. Kuku wengi. We are talking about him. He deals with chicks which are more than 20,000 and above. Kwanza yeye hata atengenezangi kuku zake zina wanatengeneza from the eggs are hatched from Uganda and then they are brought. And I was asking, you are very young. You are hata hujafika 30 and you worked only for 5 years. Aniambia nilikuwa nafanya kazi nikagundua pesa iko huku nje. Haiko huku. So I started small. The place was not looking very nice, but it started small. So what are we trying to challenge ourselves? Can you ask yourself, what skill do you have? What skill do you have? What talent do you have that you can be able to tap into it? I can feel the place is becoming hot and you might start fishing. Kuna mahali tunaweza finya ikuwe a bit cold. Kama kuna mahali, if there is somebody who knows how to control the ice, whatever, so that it can be. Nifinye huku? Or nifungue? I do not know what will happen. The other side, I don't know. Just from here, I can see you are likely to start sleeping. So what we are trying to look at here is find what else can you be able to do. Do you think there's something that you can be able to do? At least. Ama hiyo itatoka nini? Good. Good, we can continue. So what are we trying to do? We were trying to say, can you be able to find something you can be able to do? Or something somebody can be able to do for you? Ita nikaduka ameweka mahali, kanakupea even if it's 500. Because hakuna mahali utapata 500 kwa barabara. Or maybe there is something that you can be able to do. It's you to identify. Is there something that I can be able to do? And this thing can be able to give me, even if it's 200, even if it's 500, even if it's 1,000. When we talk about that, just think, what can I be able to do? And let me tell you, there is something we call the subconscious mind. Ukiambiwa saa hii, kazi inaisha. By the end of this year, utafikiria. Utaanza kufikiria. You know the reason as to why we never think of something else, complacence. Uko tu sawa. Ukaa hivi mwambiwe, all of you, by the end of December, hakutakuwa na kazi. Can you talk to me? Don't you think you will start thinking? Utakuwa na crisis meeting, utajiita mkutano. Useme, by December. So what do I need to do? Unaanza kufikiria. I might be able to do this. I might want to do this. The reason is why we never think. By the way, have you ever seen mahali mnaonanga pesa hakuna lakini mnaambiwa mgonjwa lazima apelekwe India? Paka pesa inapatikana. Why? Because inabidi akili yako isukume. So we also need to find ourselves how tunaweza sukuma akili yetu. So that you start thinking like it's like tomorrow I might be told kazi imeisha. Ama naambiwa kuanzia kesho hautakuwa. Then we will be able to start thinking. You know, sometimes we think, hakuna kitu kingine naweza fanya. It's not a must that you should be able to do things in your line. At in this way, this is what. Sometimes you can also do some things that somebody else can be able to do for you. And then, so long as you've identified there is an area that here, nikiweka hii kitu, inaweza nisaidia. Nikiweka hii, I can be able to do something. And we have to think, we have to call ourselves to a meeting. Nakaa hivi kidogo naanza kujiuliza, uko ushago niko na kashamba. Kale nilikatiwa. Is there something I can be able to do? The other day I was having a guest who was challenging us that those of us who build homes in the villages, inakusaidia nini? And he was feeling like, are you able to change it into something else? And then, or maybe can you be able to do something else mwenye anakufanyia kazi huko, usitoe pesa Nairobi ya kulipa mfanyakazi mwenye ako nyumbani. Is there something can be able to do? Anaweza weka kuku hapo, anaweza weka nguruwe, anaweza weka some flowers, anaweza weka some greenhouse, so that whatever inatoka huko ninamlipa, at least, and then you able to get something else which you can be able to do. So you have to call for a crisis meeting. And I said, sometimes we call for ourselves for a crisis meeting when you are able to do that. Once kusema, what if something happens? I need to sit down and think of what else can people to give me, even if it's 2,000, even if it's 1,000, even if it's 500. What areas you think through? You know, some of the things we always forget is, can you imagine wewe unaweza chukua loan? Kuna watu wengine hawezi chukua loan because you do not have uniform streams of income. So you need to ask yourself. I've seen people who keep on saying, mimi nachukua loan nienda kufanyia nini? Find an idea, and once you found an idea, then find a way. Hii pesa wacha niweka hapa, Let me see how it can be able to help me. Let me just move to something else, because work-life balance is not only what we call finances. There's also what we call the work career. Work career. We've seen people getting promoted. We have seen people moving places. So that one also call for us. What am I doing? What is the value of me in my workplace? What is so unique that when I do it, nobody else can be able to do it? You know, the reason as why people are retained in places is because the value that you're giving. Nini unafanya wengine hawafanyi? What is so unique the way you do your work? What have you learned which is new? What creative ideas do you bring on the table? When you're having a meeting, wewe kuna point unapeana, ama wewe ni kukubaliana kile kitu watu wamesema, then that is a clear sign that even if they dispose you, it's okay. Wewe unakujanga na idea gani? What is this thing that you're coming up with? Because when you talk about your career, what are you learning? What else are you trying to find out? Which other gaps have you discovered that within me, probably I might be able to learn one or two things which can be able to help me? Number three, there is what we call the family. Have you ever known that sometimes we will never be very productive if we're having issues with our family or we're having issues with our relationships? Ukiwa na issue nyumbani, definitely itaonekana even in your workplace. So what are we trying to look at here? We're going to look at, how is my family? What is family to me? Am I Peter or better? Because it affects us. What vision do I have? What if in case, we always challenge when we talk about finances, what if in case sitakuwa, how will my family be? Watakuwa aje? If in any case something has happened, what will happen? Now I've seen some people who are doing businesses and your children, your wife, they awana habari, hawajui. This is where we always go as far as asking ourselves questions like, who is the next of kin? We've done stories because I'm in the media, whereby somebody aliajiriwa kitambo na akaweka next of kin the father. You never changed. Kashinda tu hivyo. And then the person passes on. Mali yote inaenda. The other day I was with another mama who were traveling. Kasema yeye bwanake aliandika akiwa before she got married. And then when the money came, when the husband passed on, yote ilienda kwa mzee. Hakuna kitu alipata. So what are we trying to look at? I understand people have different theories. Kifika hapo mtu anasema nusu iende kwa mamangu, whatever, but those are some of the decisions which you have to think about them, because they are very crucial. They are very crucial in our life. Number 4, let's just talk about something about health. When we talk about creating a work balance, health. When was the last time you went for the checkup? Do you know whether you have any condition? What are you doing with that condition? We can't just ignore. Do you have any condition? What are you doing about it? When was the last time you went for the health checkup? Another question you need to ask about our health. What is our weight? What is our BMI? When was the last time we walked? Do we go for mazoezi? Have you ever seen that? Probably you'll be able to get somebody who is an expert in health. There's some of the things we talk about, cardiac arrest and all those things, simply because probably we never do exercises, we never walk, do you care what you eat? Do you ask yourself, do you have a program? Do you have a menu in your house? Do you have a menu? Ama wewe ni kukula tu? Kenye unaweza kula lunch, asubuhi, jioni. Do you have a menu? Are you particular about what you're eating and the effect they're having? Because whether we like it or not, also they affect even the way we get motivated, even with the way we do things. So we have to be very intentional when it comes to our health. We have to be very keen about what do we consume, where do we go and search. Even as I look forward to wind up, there's also what we call the spiritual mental awareness. What disturbs you? Ni nini nakupeanga stress? Nani anakupeanga stress? Anajua anakupea stress. I was reading the Bible where it talks about the Israelites. The Egyptians walikuwa nawapea stress for 400 years. So what is this thing which is stressing you? What is this thing which disturbs your mind? Do you speak about it? Do you have somebody who knows that you have a challenge? Kuna mtu anajua? You know the reason as to why we're having all these issues about so and so passed on and we didn't know, simply is because number 1, there's nobody who knows. Hakuna mtu anajua you having a given problem. Hakuna mtu anajua kuna kitu inakustress. So when we talk about spiritual and the mental wellness, we are talking about what disturbs you most and how are you solving it. And then what is your faith? Do you have a faith that you're subscribing to? Are you consistent with it? What do you think about what gives you the peace of mind? What gives you peace of mind? Akili yako kutulia ni nini kwako? Ni nini? Kutulia akili yako ni nini? Mwingine anasema mimi leta pesa mingi. Yeah, which can be true. Kuna mwingine mimi kutulia nipeleke out. Mimi kutulia I want just to sleep. But then you know that there are people who hope yao ni kulala. Kama kuji job analala all through. So what are we trying to look at? Can you identify, number one, what disturbs you and what makes you feel productive? Very sure kuna wengine wenu mko hapa tu ukienda, can you find there are many ways, but have you known yourself? What is your personality? Personality yako ni gani? Now when we talk about psychology, we have 4 personalities. Kuna wale watu ambao ni perfect melancholies. See it ni kwa ubaya, but that is how they are. Perfect melancholies, they want things to be done in a given way. There are those who are phlegmatics. Hawananga idea. Hata nikikaa hapa niulize swali hawatauliza. But a sanguine will lift up mkono yake. So have you known what is your personality? Ndio siku unakuasana na watoto nyumbani. Wewe unapiga kelele. No, mtoto ni sanguine. Ako hivyo. Hiyo ni personality yake. Kuna mwingine aongee, usiseme huyu mtu amenyamaza. No, he's a phlegmatic. Ameumbwa hivyo. Kuna mwingine hapo who is bossy, anaonanga makosa na is a perfect melancholy. So it's very important for you to know so that usikuwa unashinda ukisema bibi yako kuna shida. Ama usione bwana yako kuna shida. So try to understand the personality of the other person. But at the same time, we're also talking about how do you behave when you are stressed. Kuna watu wengine wakikuwa stressed anakula sana. Kuna mwingine akiwa stressed ana sweat. Kuna many ways. So have you known when you are stressed how you behave? And then when you talk about how you behave, do you have friends? Now, a quick challenge here. Who are your 2 close friends? Just because mambo ya TikTok, Facebook, watu wanasema kuna marafiki hiyo dunia yote hakuna. But we are 2 close friends. Another man was challenging us and he got an accident, he almost died. And he asked the children. The children asked him, Daddy, if in any case you passed, tell us your 2 good friends. Probably you could just come and visit us in school. Mzee akajaribu kufikiria. So let me give you a minute. Who are your 2 close friends? Wenye wanaweza kuangalia wanasema nani you're not okay. Behaving hivyo. Do you have 2 close friends? Aya, nimeenda mbali. Mmoja, do you have a close friend who knows you very well? That is the challenge. Uko na mtu mwenye anajua tu you're not okay. Ama this person you trust, yeye unaweza mwambia I have an issue. Niko na hii challenge. Kindly, can we be people too? Because when you talk about those things, we are talking about spiritual and mental wellness. And then also, how do you solve when you're having such kind of an issue? Do you pray? Do you go to church? Or maybe do you go to, depending on whether you're Muslim or what, do you go? How often do you go? Do you find something that gives you solace in your mind? The Bible says, for those of you who read the Bible, do not be troubled of anything, but everything by prayer and petitions and thanksgiving. Let your requests be known unto God, and He will fill you with peace which is beyond human understanding. So how do you find rest in your mind when things are not working out? You saw this man, ukafikiria maisha itakuwa mzuri. And to be very honest, things have turned down. What happens? Is that the end of life? Did you see the way people have been doing a number of things? Hata kwa social media, tunaona hata kwa news. Mtu aliweka tegemeo lake somewhere and something has happened. And then he has no hope. Have you ever seen the other day another lady who wrote, akamwambia mwili yangu mkipata chini ya preach? And then he said, my husband disappointed me. My daughter passed on. And I have decided to rest. We've seen quite a number of these things. So the question here is, whereas when things are not working out, how do you find solace? Do you go to church or do you go to a place of fellowship? Do you find people who can be able to talk to? Do you find your personal time also to pray and to ask God for God's intervention? And then the last one I want just to finish with is what we call the social welfare and OPs. We call it social welfare. Are you in a welfare? Ukitishwanga, do you have a welfare? Kenu? Do you participate? Do you contribute? Do you do visitations? Do you visit a few people around? And then even when we talk about the welfare, we talk about also the social life. Wewe unatokanga kidogo, ama unashinda tu umekaa tu. Because also there is something they say in psychology, that there is some hormones which are triggered when you go to a place which you are happy. Have you ever known that sometimes mkiambiwa kuna retreat, vile watu wanachangamuka? Watu wanafurahia, wanapiga kelele, wanapiga sherehe. So what are we trying to look at here also? When we talk about the work-life balance also, find time for yourself. Number one, we've talked about be part of what people are doing. Kama mko na welfare kenu kakutoa 500, makakutoa 200, makakutoa 1000, be part of that. Because when a problem strikes, it causes more trouble because you find you are alone. At the same time, when you talk about welfare, social, and when we talk about office, we are talking about also find some time to unwind. That is why I was challenging us and I was asking them, apart from work, unachezanga game gani? Find something to do. So that life, if they're not making, you will discover that you have something else which shows your strengths. Probably you are a good footballer. Maybe probably you are a very good musician. Or maybe you are very good in swimming. Or maybe you are good in doing some other things. You are knitting and all those things. Kuna wengine wanaweza kuwa hapa wanajua kutengeneza watu nywele. Kuna watu wengine wako hapa they can be able to do music. Kuna wengine they can dance. So what are we trying to look at? They also have a part in our lives and even in improving our mental wellness. Find something that you can be able to do which is beyond your normal. And then you can even decide. Hata kwenu, chukua hata kama ni kamba with your family. Mnaruka. Siko ubaya. Those light moments. When was the last time kwa nyumba yenu mlicheka? Bibi anacheka na mzee anacheka na watoto wanacheka mpaka wanaanguka kwa carpet. Maisha ni ile ngumu. What when was the last time? Find something you can be able to do. Sometimes the Bible says, whatever your hand finds to do in the book of Ecclesiastes, do it with all your might, for in the grave where you are going, there is no planning, there is no wisdom, there is no knowledge. So some of these things, you don't expect them to come. Unaanza tu. Pole pole unaanza tu. Find light moments. Find some time to go and refresh your mind. Unaweza kuwa unafikiria tu sufuria, unafikiria cha watoto wanakula nini, unafikiria kupika. Sometimes the way our settings, the way we normally do things, it's like women wao ndio wako jikoni. Sana mostly like those who are housewives. Unamaliza kutengeneza breakfast, unaosha vyombo, unaanza kutengeneza lunch. Ukimaliza kumaliza lunch, unaanza kuosha vyombo, unaanza kutengeneza supper. Life can be very boring. Life can be very boring. So what are we trying to look at here? We are trying to look at here is find, number one, be part of people. Ukisikia kuna ka visitation, be part of it. There's somebody who's going to do, be part of it. Hizo vitu zingine zinasaidia. Have you ever known that sometimes there's some places you are in, unafikiria kwako ndio unakufa. Unagundua mwingine na yeye kwake amekamatiliwa chini kabisa. So by the end of the day mnacheka, unasema waja tu tuishi. Have you ever known that? Unaweza kuwa unafikiria mimi mwanangu amenisumbua. Ukienda kwa wengine wakiongea juu ya bwanako unagundua kumbe hata wangu hata si mbaya vile. You will never get to know those things unless unaona hizo vitu. That is why most ladies wao wanakanga miaka mingi kushinda wanaume. Why? Because they have a lot of mkienda hata kwa harusi ni nani wana dance? Wazee wasisimami. Na okay ndio wanasunguka. Those things kuna vile they bring some healing kwa mind yake. Ni nani unaweza pita tu kwa stage unapata wanacheka wanapiga hivi ni nani? Men tuko. Wewe unafikiria tu kokoto, mchanga, cement, hata ukitaka kula hivi unaangalia hizi ni cement ngapi tumekula. Sasa even you have subjected your family, unafikiria tu cement, kokoto, mchanga, mawe, construction, fundi and all those things. So can we also find we have to create. What else do I do apart from hii kazi yangu nafanya? Either I can go for jogging, niende nicheze mpira, ama I go and do something else which can also be able to disturb your mind. At the same time, also find some social places. You can be able to meet with other people. By the way, have we ever known, I was interviewing a certain guy who has been working in Laos, Netherlands, and Qatar, and he was saying, and I loved the way he said, 10%, and this is for your children, those of you who have children who have finished Form 4. Hiyo degree yako nayo na diploma, it only serves, hiyo degree equivalent to only 10% ya yeye kupata job. 75% iko kwa networking. 10% iko kwa maombi. 5% iko kwa luck. 75 iko kwa networking. That is a challenge even to our family members. Watu wakienda kwa family gatherings, I always challenge people that wacha kusimama tu sema mimi naitwa hivi unakaa. Ati you don't want to introduce. Learn to talk to people. Salimia watu. By the way, have you ever known that most jobs ni zile ziko kwa gazeti? Ni zile tu mtu anakaa tafuta mtu wa salon, tafuta mtu wa kufanya hivi. Ni zile tu watu wanaongea tu kwa room tu pole pole tu. Unasikia kidogo mtu ametoka ameenda. So we need to, you will never get those opportunities unless you learn to be someone who is able to socialize with people. Watu wakiwa mahali kama inabidi unatulia, but in the process you are able to. You know, we are living in a world whereby things are changing. Nowadays mtu tu hata I'm very sure tukimaliza hii meeting you might find that we are not talking. Kila mtu anaingia kwa WhatsApp. True or false? Mnakaa tu hivi kila mtu kwa WhatsApp. Na unaongea na watu wenye wako very far, but the one who is next to you tunakimaliza tu hivi TikTok. Hata mimi niko TikTok. Sijasema ni mbaya, but we have to find a way of moderating. Unamaliza meeting tu hivi TikTok paka. Ukimaliza mko Facebook, kitambo maliza Facebook, Instagram pia imekupea notification. Ukimaliza Facebook na inakuitisha, LinkedIn pia inaongea, YouTube imepop kitu kingine. By the end of the day, what happens with you? Unakaa tu uko peke yako. And of course they have said with scientists, they have always said there's also something which comes with the phone and too much. Wengine unaanza kuwa na kichwa na nini because of the blue screen. Unaangalia all through. Wengine hata kulala ni shida. Si ajabu unaweza kuwa unang'ang'ana saa hii si kupenda kwako. Usiku ulikaa TikTok mpaka 2 am. Mpaka tu ukiamka kwenda washroom tena unaenda kwa TikTok unaona tena kuni nini. And for information, it's very addictive. Unalala na simu iko tu hapa. And then remember, if you want to know that there is an effect, kaa tu na simu yako. Ukae tu hivi usikie vile unasikia some waves. Sina kugonga. Wewe tu kaa tu na simu yako tu hivi kidogo. Ukae tu nayo hivi for some time usikie vile waves sina kugonga. Kitu inakugonga. Those are electrons. Sina kugonga. So what are we trying to find? Can we, the gadgets, they come to help us. Like now I'm very sure kuna watu wengine probably wanaangalia kwa Zoom ama wataangalia. The camera is helping us to record this. But can we find also time to socialize with people? How are you? Mnaendelea aje? Yes, project yako imefika wapi? There's something that I do on radio. We call it iron sharpens iron. As another man sharpens another man. Let me just finish by that. The biggest resources we have there with people. Iron sharpens iron as another man sharpens another. The way you dress, you will be shocked. Uliona vile mtu mwingine ana dress. Vile ulijenga nyumba yako uliona kwingine. Vile unavaa nguo zako. So what are we trying to find? Let us also be very careful that we are not drove away from the social life ya kuongea na watu. Kuna watu wengine mnakaa na wao, you know, I always say this, the far you go in life is determined with the people that you associate with. Sasa wewe umeacha kabisa, wewe una associate na TikTok, una associate na Facebook. I'm not saying it's bad. Probably there is some content there that you're following. But also let us learn that iron sharpens iron as another man sharpens another. There's a lady you hang around with, anakusaidia you know how to bake cake. Kuna mtu mnakaa na yeye anakuambia vile you are supposed to plan a few things. There are few things when people talk. Kuna mwingine mnakaa hivi na wewe unagundua yenyewe I need to have a plot in Ruai. Kuna mwingine mnakaa na wewe unagundua yenyewe there's something I can be able to do. So can we find ways, even as we talk about, you know, sometimes even when we talk, inakutoa kwa hiyo stress ya kufikiria all things are not working out. Why are these friends? Why are these people that you're associating with? How do you get value in those people? Learn also to participate. Learn also to be with people. Na pia, ukikaa na watu, ask God to help you so that you don't feel intimidated. And you have discovered sometimes unakaa na watu wanakuintimidate. I always say that in life, kuwa na watu wenye wako mbele yako, ukimwangalia una admire familia yake. I like the way so and so talks to the wife. I like the way so and so treats the husband. I like the way so and so does the children. Somebody you look forward to. Na pia kaa na mwenye mko na the same struggles. Mnakuanga watu wa kupweka, unajua kuna wale wa kupweka kaa pamoja ndio ina way mnasaidiana, siku moja tutatoboa. Find also people who are struggling with you financially. Have some people who are, when you look at their finances you wonder, kwani mlipita wapi? The way they do things, the level of excellence, the way their work. Those people, they also aspire you unaanza kukaa mtu wa kutaka kuenda kwao. At the same time also have some people you're on the same level. Mnangangana rent na wao tu, mnaitishiana tu kuna kama 500. Kwa na mtu kama huyo. Uwakopagi kumjisha 500 because hata yeye kuna wakati mwingine anakuokolea. Just also have some people, because also when you have people on the same level, there is a way you encourage yourself. Unajua ukikana watu wenye wako huko, unajua kuna, have you ever gone to a place? I remember there's one time when we were newly married. We didn't have a car. And then we used to attend this couples meeting. Na watu walikuwa na magari. And then the kind of estates. Sasa sisi number 1, kufika huko, tupande matatu tushuke mahali, and then tuchukue taxi, and then the meeting, because people are working, inakuwa usiku, I'm wondering, nitafika aje kwangu? Because where I'm staying, it's not even safe at night. What did I do? He said they are good, but for now, they can cause mental illness. Let me find people we are on the same level. Wakisema tukutane mahali fulani, wakisema tukutane kama ni operator, mia kuingia itakuwa shida. Lakini if you hang around people who are saying we are going for dinner na ni 10,000, na wewe mwenyewe hiyo hujaiona, si kwa ubaya, but find also people who are on the same level. And then also have people who are looking forward when wanakuja kwako, because also the more you mentor them, the more also you become better. Kwa na mtu tu, just find somebody. Just find somebody in your family. By the way, have you ever known that also even in the family, when you have a niece who looks forward, when anakunene, hata wewe ukitaka kufanya kitu unakumkanga watu unakumbuka. There is somebody in the Bible, in the book of Luke, they said, this man ought not to die because he loves our people and he built a synagogue for us. Can you be an auntie watu wanakuangalia? Can you be an angle that people look forward? Mtu anasema ngo nataka kuja kukutembelea. And then they just work, they admire, they like. And then when you speak, they see value. By the way, unaweza kuwa unaka place kama hii, point zaka hazimake sense. Lakini there is a niece, there is a nephew somewhere. There is a cousin somewhere. When you speak, nakwambia I'm so happy. By the way, hiyo peke yake inakufanya unakuwa motivated. So find people who are below you. Find some of the family members who are below you, whom you can be able to give guidance. Hata ukiongea wanaona value in that. Because also that one makes life more interesting. I want just to stop there because of time. But tumesema nini? We have to create a work-life balance. And even before we do that, we must find ways of motivating ourselves. We said when you talk about motivating ourselves, number 1, we have to appreciate that number 1, lazima mimi mwenyewe. Piga look. You know, sometimes I tell people, hata kama ni Facebook, weka picha yako. Sasa nani ataweka yako? Weka yako, weka kakoti hapo. Just learn to appreciate yourself. Learn to appreciate yourself. Si kwa ubaya, it's okay, it's better. Just learn to appreciate yourself. Don't expect watu wengine watakuweka. Kwanza nani atakupost? Wewe chipost. And then I think we mentioned a number of things I don't want to repeat. We talked about, also look at some of the positive things around you. Kishinda ukiangalia mambo mabaya, you'll be seeing a lot of trouble everywhere. And then of course we said also find ways, find a problem that you can be able to solve. By the way, do you know that when there's a crisis, it increases teamwork. Pale kuna shida hivi, and then you come together. There is a way when there is, when there's a crisis, watu wanakuja pamoja wanataka tufanye hili. Have you ever known that some of us, probably, the last time we met is because so and so had passed on. Na mkakutana mkapeana ideas. Must we wait mtu wakufe ndio tukupatane tupeane ideas? Have you ever known that when there's a crisis, there's a way people come, wanaanza kupeana ideas, what can we be able to do? Must we wait for those? We can be able to. And of course, as I said, let us also learn to treasure the people that we are working around with. Wenye tuko na wao, the family members, the workmates and other people can be able to give you some value. Learn also to one person who talks and also participates. By the way, Mungu atusaidie tusikuwe na the real meetings is after the meeting. And yet there's some places there's a lot of toxicity in the workplace. Mkiwa kwa meeting haupeanangi point. Mkimaliza ndio unasema sasa ndio unatoa point sasa zile saa. Hiyo nilijua tu kitaisha tu. Hakuna kitu kilikuwa kinaongelewa hapa. Mkiwa kwa meeting au ongei. Mkimaliza meeting sasa ndio point zenyewe zina. Anybody was an agenda? Any point? Hakuna. Mkimaliza, sasa ndio points zile original zinatoka. May God help us that we can be able to have an environment whereby when you feel like this and this can be done, you will be able to say. And also those who are in church, they can also be able to listen and say, oh yes, what can we be able to do about it? Because when you see you are meeting, unachongelesha na mtu aongeangi. But at the back of your mind, elewa tu, the real meeting is after the meeting. Mukitoka, ndio sasa watu wanafungua roho. Thank you so much for your time. I forgot to say this. I have done books. This one is called Quest for Personal Growth. How do I grow myself? 2 chapters, yani inakuanga chapter kidogo kidogo, 2 pages, and then there's somewhere. Me always challenge people, when you get a book like this, ukinunua, write notes. Chukua pencil, kitabu ni yako. Write a few things. Kile wile unaona. Just find you can be able to interact with it. And then I always tell people, you don't buy, I have books I have never finished. Kukuja kwangu study room yangu iko na vitabu mingi, but I have never finished it because I pick what is of interest. This is what I read kidogo, natulia. And then I ask myself, what is my action plan? Because also you can have a lot of motivation haikusaidii. So you read and then you say, what am I going to do? I'm going to improve on this. This one is Quest for Personal Growth. And then this one is called Maximizing Your Skills and Talents. Those people have been saying, oh, sijui talent yangu, sijui mtoto wangu anaenda kufanya nini. Ama you keep on wondering, what do I? By the way, I do many things. I'm a lecturer. I teach college in Kenya Mass. I'm a radio presenter. I work with the media services. I'm a master of ceremony. I do corporate training. Kikuja mimi nakuuzia doggy, very expensive. I breed dogs. I have a Rottweiler. I have a... Why did I decide to have dogs? It's because I discovered niko na compound kangu. Na hapa naweza weka dog. Si hapa naweza weka siku 3. Na nikibreed dog moja na nipatia 40,000. Hiyo nitaokota. Haya nikasema sasa mimi ni baada ingine nikinunua kuku, hii space naweza weka nini? Naweza weka kuku ikae hapa. And then I can be able to do this. By that I've been doing even farming. Why? Because I used to go to farmers naona vile wanafanya. And then I said, why can't I be doing farming? So one time kwanza nilichukua chunk of land nikaichukua for 10 years. What am I trying to say? Maximize your talents and skills. There are talents that you have, there are some skills you have. But in most cases, siko tu, you are there. Probably some of you can be able to become a very good master of ceremonies. Lakini umetulia tu. Some of you can be able to do, by the way, I've done songs. I have YouTube. Yes, I've done songs. I have YouTube. I have what? I earn from even social media platforms. Why I decided to do it? Because I said, what can I be able to do? Because I was so unsatisfied because I was feeling I had a big number, I didn't have money. So I said, I will be able to, what else can I be able to do? I can do this. Mimi naweza kuwa paparazzi. Ukimaliza nikitoka hapa nachukua kamera. Napiga picha. Because when I finished college, I said, what can I be able to do? I wrote 10 things. I can act. I can do this. I can do this. So what am I challenging you? Haimaanishi ukiwa tu hapa, that is all that you can be able to do. There are things that it's a skill you've learned. There's some things which are inborn. Kuna wengine tu vitu zingine which are inborn. So these ones, sasa nyinyi nitawafanyia hape ile sitawasumbua. You give me 1,000, you get the 2 of them. 500 because kwingine ukienda kwingine ni 1,000 plus. So you get, I have a few of them. You get this one. It's Quest for Personal Growth. This one, mimi maisha yangu nitabadilisha aje? How do I change my life? How do I change the way I do things? And even as I finish, so it's very important for us also to ask yourself, wewe jijue tu kwa ukweli, weakness yangu inakuanga ni gani? Wewe mwenyewe tu unajuanga mimi ka weakness kangu ni haka na ka strength kangu ni haka. And those are some of the things I've focused on this. This one also I'm challenging people. There are many things you can be able to do to give you an income. There's some things which you can do which can add value to the society. Some of the things I've been doing, they add value to the society. In the process, later on, they also add value to. I never do everything if it's just for money. Kuna vitu zingine nafanya for, but in the process, they're able to give me better connections. Thank you so much.